Have you ever wondered why you feel so lonely even though you're surrounded by others? Like you're at a party or you're hanging out with friends and you still don't feel like you're seen. Maybe you're talking to people, you still feel empty though. That's because love isn't received, it's reflected. If you want to be loved, you have to love first. Howdy, my name is Nolan T. Painter, an aspiring young man, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about the topic of curing loneliness through loving others. And I don't just mean love such as romance, I mean how you treat people, how you show up for them, and how you live daily. Because a good man isn't someone who just shows up whenever. He's there all the time. He's consistent. There's a couple good instances you can imagine in your head of what makes a good man who's so loving. Like a firefighter whose compassion allows him to cradle those who need the support. Or the military veteran who, because of his experiences, isn't emotionally a shell of himself, but is now able to be incredibly empathetic towards others. It's these experiences that build men to be strong, not necessarily because they're built strong or tough, but because they're mentally empathetic and able to be caring to others. So, love isn't just external, it's something you project before it's returned. So if you want to be loved, if you want to have people to reach out to you, then you need to first reflect on the desire upon yourself. You need to love others and reach out to others. Have you ever wanted your friend to text you and you'd open your phone 1,000 times a day going, oh, has he messaged me? No. Oh, has he messaged me? No. Or even if it's not your buddy, it's the girl you have a crush on. Oh, I got a crush on her. She's not messaging me. And then you're upset. This isn't necessarily an obsession. It's just you desiring to be loved. I've struggled with this my entire life, and it's still something I struggle with quite deeply. If you want to overcome this issue, if you yourself want to be loved more, you need to work on those relationships on your side first. Think about, as you age, you become more responsible for the relationships you uphold. If you don't put effort into them, as your parents would say, they're not going to last. And that doesn't mean just doing whatever you want or asking them to respond to you. It's you putting in the effort to update them. Right? If I want to have good friendships, I need to constantly be updating them, even when I feel like I'm not getting anything out of it, because you're getting the friendship, which is the whole point. And especially in a relationship setting, you need to be reaching out to the woman. You need to be consistent, because a man who's inconsistent isn't attractive. A man who's inconsistent isn't a good partner, regardless of whether he's actually dating her or not. You need to be the good man who's willing to be forward-thinking and humble himself such that he's putting the relationship health before his own personal desire of having unasked love, unconditional love, right? But you don't get that from nothing. So you attract when you reflect, right? So reflecting being when you want to lend to others the same way you want to be lended to allows you to attract, right? You want people to message you, so you message others. You're now attracting people because the world mirrors how you want to treat it. If you're nice to the world will be nice to you. If you're a good man to the world will be good to you. If you want to be a good partner, well, then you're going to get a good partner. But if you don't try anything, then you better bet the world's not going to try for you. And loneliness often comes from waiting for others to do it. You won't. You want people to reach out to you. You want the woman, your crush, to just come into your life and go, I love you, here's a bunch of flowers. You need to do that for her. You need to prove it to her. You need to be the man and step up. And that's hard because all we want to do is sit around and just have things be lended to us. But that's not the case. That's not how life works. And it sucks. It's stupid, right? We just want things to be nice. We want to be given things. I especially want to be given things. I just want this beautiful woman to just spawn in front of me and go, Nolan, I missed you. Let's fix things. But that's not how things work. You need to actually step up and take the sacrifice as the man. You need to work hard as the man to achieve those things. And that means doing it for her, which is difficult. And it comes with risk. But a good man will navigate those things effectively. Because if you want someone to text you, well, then you got to text first. If you want loyalty, you have to show loyalty. Because loyalty is something you earn through your own. So don't go trying to beg for it without actually providing any yourself. If you want your woman to be better, just be a better man. It's that simple. Like, if you look at gym, like working out, you don't only go when you feel like it. You go because you want to build something. Imagine you, just like with the gym, you wouldn't go to the gym whenever you felt like it. You'd go every day. You'd set up a schedule because you know it's important. So would you text this person whenever you felt like it? No. You text them all the darn time. You message them as frequently as possible. Or you be as gentle with them and as kind with them and as forgiving with them as possible. Because if you really want a good relationship, would you not want to do things as well as possible for them? Would you not want to be the person you want to be, right? Would you date yourself? Probably not. Would you want to be in a relationship with yourself? Probably not, right? If you had a daughter, would you want your daughter to date you? Probably not. But if you became this better man that was always reaching out, that was always caring, well, all of a sudden it might change a little bit. Okay, well, I probably would want to date myself because that would fill the void in my heart. I would be someone who would always be reaching out. I would be the person I desire. So why would you not want to do that? Because love isn't just found, it's practiced, right? You can't just date yourself. You need to date someone else. And to do that, you need to practice being a better person yourself first. So loneliness can exist even when you're surrounded by people, which is the interesting thing, because connection isn't about the amount of people you have, it's about the quality of people you're with, right? Because you can be lonely even with friends or in a relationship if the friends you're hanging out with just lead you to poor things and the partner you're with is always nagging you and being a horrible person. Because modern culture really promotes being around as many people as possible instead of connecting deeply with just one person. I would infinitely rather having a one beautiful wife than knowing every person on the entire planet, any day of the week. I don't care. I'll do it every day, all day. I will always pick that because I believe it's so much more important to have, connections with like one special person than a bunch of random people. I would trade every ounce of success for that too, because that's just how important it is to me. But nonetheless, it's incredibly important, right? You go to school or university or high school, wherever you're at in life, and you see the groups of the boys who are hanging out together, like the tight group of boys, and they're always really, really good friends, right? And then you'll have another group who's just a bunch of random people hanging out, and they're not really friends, they're just hanging out for the sake of hanging out because they want to fit in, right? So who do you think's healthier? Probably the close group of guys who are always working. And in life, I truly believe you're the representation of the sum of the 5 people you hang out with. So if you hang out with 5 good people versus 5 bad people, what does that say about you? Right? So you better be careful about the quality at which you choose your friends, you choose your relationships. And you got to also remember, you uphold those relationships. So if you want a good quality of friendship, you have to actually uphold it. You have to be the good friend before you want a good friend. Because depth requires your vulnerability. It requires you to be vulnerable and extend yourself out to others. Which is unfortunate, because many men fear vulnerability because it feels weak. It feels like you need something. It feels like you want something or you're being needy. And, it doesn't feel right. It feels wrong. But it actually shows strength, because if you're able to be vulnerable and emotionally available to a woman, it's a big deal for a man. I learned just recently, you have to really understand how women want support. Women are incredibly attuned to safety. And I'll make a video on this. I really want to. But women are incredibly attuned to safety, which means it's like their sixth sense. They stay away from things that make them feel unsafe, and they come closer to things that make them feel safe. So if you don't make a woman feel safe, she'll leave you. But if you make her feel safe, she'll be with you. So if you're decisive, if you know what you want, if you're a good leader, she'll follow you. If you're able to come in and comfort her, she'll find you safe. And safety isn't just providing solutions. Like if she's crying, you're not going to solve the problem. You're going to, control her, because the best way to solve the problem, right? The problem is she's crying, right? And you can solve the problem. The thing is, you can't solve it the way you want. To solve the problem of your woman crying or her upset or she's stressed isn't finding the root cause and eliminating it. It's making her happy in the moment. And making her happy can mean calming her down, giving her a hug, reassuring her, or just being there for her to cry onto, and that'll make her happy, and that will solve the problem. Maybe the thing that caused it is still there, but she's no longer sad, which is the important part, and it's difficult to wrap our heads around that as guys. But when you look towards comforting a woman as a good man, that is crucial, because it's what's necessary, because they look at it completely different the way we do. When a man's crying, he doesn't look to stop his sadness, he looks to fix the problem. But when a woman's crying, she just looks to stop the crying. So it's important as a man you can realize that distinction. Think about how many times, we've tried to text each other just meaningless stuff, like, what's up, what are you doing? But when's the last time you've really tried to text someone like, hey, how are you really doing? What's going on? So it's in these relationships, too, that you really want to have quality. You really want to ask and reach out to them. And especially in your loving relationships with a partner, you really need to have that quality relationship. You can't just go, I love you. It's got to be I love you. I care for you. I trust you. I'm proud of you. You got to go the extra mile. screw the extra mile. You gotta go the extra fucking universe. You gotta go way, way, way beyond for these people. It's so crucial. It's so necessary that you are loving to them above and beyond and so forth. You need to be everything that you desire. You need to say all the things you yourself want to hear. And of course for them, which could be different. Again, boys and girls are rather different, but they're beautiful reflections of one another. And the more you can understand that, the better of a man you can be. I'm very grateful that I'm taking this time to learn all these things without a partner, because it means when I do get one, when I do come back, and when it is beautiful, I'll be such a good man, and I'm so proud, and I'm so ready, and I'm so excited for it. But I know there's so much more for me to learn. I digress. little side tangent there. Anyways, what's important is that quality surrounds you versus quality saves you, right? So you might be surrounded by a lot of people, but it's only a couple of really, really good people who will actually help you out in the long run. Like, think about your parents. You only got 2 parents, but you could have 100 friends, but those 2 parents are probably more important to you than those 100 friends. Anyways, love requires giving without just a guarantee, which is why it's brave, because you got to sacrifice to love. Love means sacrifice, and sacrifice means giving without the honor of having something given back. Right? That's what it means to love. When you really love someone, like when your mom loves you, she'll cook for you because she wants you to eat healthy. When you love your girlfriend, you're going to buy her flowers and not expect her to sleep with you or do anything. You're not going to expect her to say thank you. You're not going to expect her to hold your hand. You're not going to expect her to give you a kiss or anything. You shouldn't. You do it because you love her. You do it because it's sacrificial. You die for her because you love her, not because you want something out of it. And I truly believe I'd like to die for this person, which means it's a sacrificial love, which is how it should be. So I shouldn't have these expectations or desires given that I've lended something to her, whether it be my love or time or a physical present. It doesn't have to be like, it can be anything. What's important is that there's not this expectation that I will get something off of giving it, which is true sacrifice. It's true giving without guarantee, because most people fear giving love because they feel rejection or some sort of, they fear like this imbalance, right? They fear that something might not be justified. But being open really doesn't make you weak. It really just means like you want to avoid availability for meaning, right? When you're being open, you're trying to become this better version of yourself to improve each other, right? It means you want to be available. You want to get this meaning. You want to have this appreciation. When you're not wanting to be open, you're afraid of being available for the meaning. You're afraid of being available for someone or for something. And when you're afraid of being available, how can others be available to you? How is that fair? How is that justified? The same way discipline builds strength physically, vulnerability builds strength emotionally. You need to be vulnerable. You need to build the discipline of being vulnerable with your partner and being gentle with your partner. And there's a very special way to do this. Still a bit to think about that one. I haven't put too much thought into it, but there's a special level of vulnerability you need to have with your partner where you can still be a man, you can still lead. It's a vulnerability where you're the leader, you're in control of how you feel, but you need support and you're asking for support confidently and gently versus, sobbing and then losing your life over everything and then letting it control you, right? You can be vulnerable without things controlling you, and that's very important. That's what separates a man who's growing versus a man who's already reached his growth. And if you only give when it's safe, when you only love when you feel like it's safe, then you'll never experience real love. Because like I've said, real love is sacrifice. And that's what makes it so important. You can't expect to meet like a godly woman at a party. So you also have to be careful where you're looking for this love. You can't just go to parties or random nonsense to go find this love. You have to go and search it in the right places. Guess where a godly woman lives? She lives at a church. She lives with community. She lives with purpose. So if you want to be a better person who has good friends, then you need to look in the right places too, and you need to be careful. True love is giving without asking, and it's looking where it's worth looking. So, additionally, loving first means living deliberately. So first through action and emotion. People often think loving is just emotion. You just care, but essentially love is also action, and it's incredibly important. So action can be like communicating with them or doing something with them or doing something for them, given that you're not going to be given something back. So don't wait for others, just do it, just start. If you really love someone, you're going to do it. If you really want to be with someone, you're going to reach out and talk to them. You're going to make yourself vulnerable for them. You're going to put yourself on the line, your life on the line for them. you're going to put the fear of you being rejected onto them for the sake of having that possible relationship with them. So check in with your friends. Encourage the people you care about. Lead with kindness, especially when you're hurting, because if you feel hurt, there's a likelihood that someone else is. So you should be the kind person that you want to be reached out to, right? And when you feel alone, ask yourself, when was the last time I gave someone these expectations? When was the last time I gave without expectations, right? When was the last time that I was truly a good person, deserving of these things that I so request? Because the world rewards constant givers, not just emotional gamblers. Because love is an investment and the interest comes in time. Anyways, so the circle of love begins with you, and this is very important because you don't give love to receive it. You give because that's who you've become. You want to become the person who's so loving which you desire, and in doing so, you will shape the people around you into being the people you desire. But you got to be careful because you're not doing this for the sake of receiving it. You're doing because you truly want to love. You truly want to love someone, like a woman, like your friend, and that makes yourself better, and that makes them better, and they, as a result, love you. But you don't get that without step one. You don't get that without being available for them, which is a big hit for me because I so badly just want to have everything be perfect and then the woman come in and baby me. But that's not how it works. I myself need to be the good man, the good, strong man who will love her first. That's how it works. A man who loves first is going to lead first, which is essential. You can't just love others if you've never learned to love without act of loving. And the act of loving is sacrifice. So if you're not willing to sacrifice for someone, and keyword sacrifice, which means it's difficult, which means you probably don't want to do it, then you're not proper to love. You're not ready to love. And that's a really hard reality. That's a really hard reality hit because a lot of people aren't ready to sacrifice. A lot of people aren't ready to give up. If you love, you must be willing to block the people that they don't want you talking to. You must be willing to give them flowers without expecting anything in return, or comforting them without them maybe comforting you or having that understanding. But again, what's important is that it takes time. You will be reciprocated. You will be given back. It takes time. And the most important part is patience. If you're not patient, that builds wrath. It builds envy. It builds things you're scared of. It sows the seeds of deception that allows your relationship to be pulled apart. And it's necessary that you have this patience so that you can be so grateful when those good things come. And believe me, they will come. You just have to work hard to achieve them. You have to work hard to give them to others to prove that you're desirable and worthy of them. Because if you want to be loved, well then love first. Not just fill your emptiness, but create something worth sharing. And when you finally meet the right person, they'll recognize you. Trust me, they will. Because you already learned how to love in the first place. My name is Nolan T. Painter, and thank you very much for watching.